I'm being led into the so-called punishment lanes in the back streets of Derry. Alleyways where people are brought to be shot in the arms, hands, elbows and ankles for the crime of selling drugs.
This is an area where a lot of punishment attacks have taken place, where young people have been shot in these lanes, and this lane over here will be an area of high activity amongst what people describe as dissident Republicans.
They're brought down here to be shot?
People have been shot in these lanes and the lanes over here and around the vacant shops.
The shootings are carried out by a group of vigilantes called RAAD, the Republican Action Against Drugs. Gunmen who've drawn up their own laws here, with punishments ranging from kneecapping to execution.
People in RAAD, like all our armed groups, are members of this community. They target people because the community, the people in this city, demanded almost of them, you know, to deal with certain people who are dealing in drugs.
Gary Donnelly is the local leader of the 32 Sovereignty Movement, a group seeking the full reunification of Ireland. Many call it the political arm of the much feared real IRA.
How is it justifiable to actually shoot people? Why can't you just warn them?
RAAD are on record as saying that anybody who wants a way out is, all they've got to do is stop selling drugs.
Policing Derry's streets is what's meant to be a new impartial force. It should be them dealing with drug sellers.
In a normal situation, that would be the job of the police. Unfortunately, 6 counties of Ireland are still under the control of the English. Therefore, what we would have in Derry and other towns and villages and cities in the 6 counties is a British police force. And in areas like Derry, this British police force, by and large, is not acceptable.
First one got me there. He basically just shot me at random on the same leg. And that brought me down, that one. Went through both my legs, that bullet. And the Craigan.
Raymond Coyle is one of RAAD's victims, shot through the legs for selling marijuana seeds.
And he raised the gun up as slow as he could. And I was saying, don't do it, man, don't do it. And he did it.
Ray has recently received another warning.
I had the police come into my shop. They tell me they'd received information I was to be executed.
Executed?
Mm-hmm.
Seems to be mostly in the legs. People would be shot in the legs. Most of the times it's not the actual pain and discomfort or injuries, it's the stigma. Once that happens to you in communities like this, you're disgraced.
And how does it work? Do they get invited to come along, or what?
Sometimes they might be ordered, sometimes they may be abducted and brought here. You know, there is an element of some of them do accept their punishment and show up.
How many of the punishment shooters have included parents bringing their children?
I wouldn't be aware. There's been 1 or 2 recently that have claimed, you know.
A year ago, RAAD turned its attention to Andrew Allen. His mother, Donna, says he was one of 6 young men who received death threats delivered with bullets.
Just dissident Republicans, and that could be a number of groups, like, you know. But
and did they say why
they didn't say on the death threat why. It was just, if you don't leave there within 24 hours, you'll be executed.
Andrew took it seriously and moved just across the border to the Irish Republic, but it wasn't far enough.
I was sitting here and I got a phone call from Emmons. They said that he'd been shot, and then with some minutes then I got another phone call back to say that he had died, like.
3 weeks later, RAAD claimed responsibility for the killing, saying Andrew had been selling drugs. But the family reject that. They think a member of RAAD was seeking revenge over a personal conflict. Andrew's 19-year-old brother David says young men in the area now live in fear.
What's it like for young guys like yourself living in this area at the moment with this threat?
Oh, it's unbelievable. Say when you're lying in bed and you hear even next door neighbour's doors closed and it's a big bang, you jump out of bed, you think somebody's coming with you.
Sometimes like you're just waiting for something to happen to you. You're just waiting, like, if you're sitting in the house at night and you hear a car outside sitting for ages, you know, you're sitting and wonder, is that them, or, you know, something like that, like.
Police are investigating the killing, but the family is publicly seeking an arrest, despite the dangers.
They just don't care. They do not care. And they're running around here and they're being allowed to run around. And it's a disgrace. So it is. In this town here, what's been allowed to happen? My son was murdered. Who's going to get onto that? Who's going to help me with that?
Peter, as we'll call him, is a long-term drug dealer. He's been forced out of Derry by RAAD.
And it's serious, you take it seriously.
Very seriously.
We can't identify him and had to meet in a quiet location, as London is within RAAD's reach.
I sent my sister a message going, he's never to come back again. There's not a chance he'll be shot dead. There's no way he'll ever come to Ireland, not just Northern Ireland, the whole of Ireland. I fucking hate them. They've killed a lot of my friends, shot a lot of my friends. A lot of friends are out and over here. They're scum, that's all they are.
Derry's police headquarters was bombed by Republicans just last year. I came here to find out why they seem unable to stop RAAD.
This group is not easy to catch. You know, they are forensically aware, they operate in a tight geographical area, there's a certain ambivalence within the area in which they operate. You know, unless you have people that are prepared to give you information about what they're doing, lifetime information about what they're doing, or unless you're prepared to stand up and provide us with a statement that will support a prosecution, they are not going to be easily caught.
Ambivalence or support?
Let me give you a practical example. You know, ambivalence is actually turning a blind eye to them. You know, they see them going up the street, they've got balaclavas on and guns in their hand, they don't phone us. That's ambivalence. Support is actually allowing them into their house afterwards to forensically clean themselves.
So how much of it is Republican though? How much of this is actually potentially dissidents, dissident Republicans who don't accept the political deal that's being brought about?
I think you need to be very careful here because you know, dissident Republicans to us have a political connotation. They are fighting for political ends. I don't see any of that with Republican Action Against Drugs. I would describe them as pure criminals. It's criminality. You know, there's a real psychosis in there. These are particularly dangerous and very, very nasty individuals who seem to thrive on creating an intimidating atmosphere and fear within the communities in which they operate.
For the people of Bogside and Craigan, there's one local alternative to getting shot. Veteran IRA member Hugh Brady and Tom McCourt are mediators between RAAD and those who've been threatened. Today, for the first time, they're meeting William Allen, uncle of the man killed by RAAD, Andrew Allen. Hugh's been given information that Andrew's murder may have been an accident.
I think if they'd been seen to kill someone they didn't mean to kill, it would have just made them look completely ridiculous.
See, I would disagree with you, right? And what I would say to you is that and the like of the areas over here, people seen them as sorting out drug dealers.
They say they've had threats lifted on over 100 young men in a desperate community.
If the government is not willing to put those resources in place, then you have a vacuum. And that's the issue. The problem with a vacuum is that people turn around and say, well, if there's a drug dealer in our streets and the police is not able to deal with it because they have no evidence or because of many people who believe that sometimes the police use these people for information gathering or whatever. And secondly, that if there's no programs available to actually get these kids engaged and they put it to stop it, then some parent sits down and says, if my kid is down that street and somebody's going to come out and stick a drug in his mouth or a needle in his arm, and some guy wants to come down with a baseball bat or a gun, in fact, to put a stop to that drug dealer, I'm not going to shed any crocodile tears.
The main Republican areas of Bogside and Craigan are depressed communities. There are few jobs, virtually no visible government investment, and for many, there's been no improvement here since the peace process began with an IRA ceasefire in 1994.
People would like for the kids somewhere to go. They would like jobs. Everybody needs money, and a lot of people with put in that situation of austerity, they have no way to turn. But you know what I mean? Some of them will end up alcoholics. Some of them will end up junkies, and it's not drug dealers. It's doing that. It's the country.
The majority in Northern Ireland want peace, but in these areas of Derry, I found what appears to be a growing sentiment that the Sinn Fein Peace Process is not delivering economic progress, nor the united Ireland many Republicans seek.
As a Republican, I want a 32-county socialist republic. Am I going to get it through this peace process? I don't think so. Instead, what happens is you have an economic crisis which says, what better prospects? Well, freaking half the country's unemployed. There's like 4,000 people, I think it was over 4,000 people applied for 17 jobs last week in Derry. 17 friggin' jobs, 4,000 people applying for them. That's the economic crisis we're in. There's a growth in antisocial behaviour, there's growth in friggin' drug abuse. Young kids have lost hope. All of that is happening, spiralling within our communities, and people are saying, well, this isn't what we thought the peace process was going to bring about. Now, we're not blaming the peace process for it. We know there's an economic crisis out there, but nevertheless, we're not happy. This is not where we want to be, and we have no control over it because we're constantly being told by Stormont we can't do anything about it. We don't hold the purse strings. They're held by Westminster, and we're saying, well then, so we're still under British control. We're seeing a police force which everybody has been pushed down their throat. You must accept and give your allegiance to. The standing army for the North is the British Army. The flag of the North is the part of the United Kingdom, the Union Jack. We're seeing the Republican leadership shaking hands with the British Crown and the British Queen being accepted in Britain. The whole link with Britain is becoming normalised and whatever. So people are saying, how is this taking us towards the United? It's leading us away from it. It's stabilising the entire system that was so close to collapse at one point.
Derry is a centre of this dissident Republican movement, and while it may be small, some of their armed members are part of RAAD. It was at this point, while we were filming this story, that things took a dramatic turn. Accompanying me was a journalist from the Guardian newspaper. He received a call saying the real IRA would meet him, and he left immediately. He was met on the street, driven out of Northern Ireland and left on a dark country road.
Thoughts do cross your mind. Lonely country roads, I've been up so many of them in my career where dead bodies have been dumped, being executed by paramilitaries. I mean, you know, there was always at the back of your mind there's a concern and there's a worry, and I was left there for 10 minutes. It seemed like a lifetime waiting for another car to pull up, and that car pulled up. There was a statement produced. I was asked to copy it in a pool of light. I've never seen these individuals before in my life, and I copied it. It was burned. Car drove off. Another car came, dropped me back into the city.
The statement read, following extensive consultations, Irish Republicans and a number of organisations involved in armed actions against the armed forces of the British Crown have come together within a unified structure under a single leadership subservient to the constitution of the Irish Republican Army. It was a declaration of a return to arms, bringing together several different dissident groups, including RAAD, under a new IRA leadership.
This grouping has the potential to cause trouble and destabilisation. There are several hundred of them. Now, it remains to be seen if their unified command can produce acts of terrorism that will steal the headlines and cause destabilisation. But they are potentially a dangerous force.
I believe that amalgamation of all those groups it'll be a very dangerous situation for the peace process.
How big is this group, first of all, do you think?
The talk is hundreds, 200 to 300 people.
And is that a significant force?
That's a major force. I mean, during the height of the war against the British forces, the provisional IRAs, active people would have been in the 200 to 300 group. I believe that you'll have an escalation of attacks on the British forces here.
Some believe RAAD's actions here have also been part of this battle between those who support the Sinn Fein Peace and those who oppose it because they feel it will never deliver a united Ireland. The inclusion of RAAD in this new IRA group supports that view.
Well, I think locally we've been policing under a severe terrorist threat for the last 5 years. There are a number of very small terrorist groups in this city that would seek to do us as a police service harm. If RAAD were to declare themselves political and actually start to target us as police officers, I don't think that changes the situation overall to any large extent at all. It would be another terrorist group that we would have to deal with.
But from the Republican point of view, the new IRA force could pose a significant threat.
I obviously want to mount a spectacular attack. They attract support, right? And they show that they're capable of taking on the might of the British Empire. So either a spectacular attack here in Ireland, which is not, in my opinion, feasible. So what you're looking at is a primary target for Republicans always was England. I would be imagining that that would be their number one target, and their secondary targets would be anywhere where there's a British base in the world.
For Donna and her sons, the loss of Andrew is still raw and painful.
My heart's like a jigsaw, and there's a piece of it missing, you know, that can never be back in, because Andrew's not there. So he's not.
They're not interested in sectarian politics, they simply want justice.
If they're not stopped before, it'll happen again. They'll murder somebody else, so they won't, because they're getting away with it.